Hi and welcome to the exercise. This exercise basically is to learn about layers and what are called layer modes. You see basically we've got this picture here, and what we're going to do with this is we're going to enhance the light in the image. So first step, you can actually do this in Photoshop Elements or Photoshop. Process is exactly the same. We need to view the layers first of all. So if we just click there, and now we can see we've got one background layer which we're going to copy, and the way I do that is to right click and then from the menu select duplicate layer. We'll just click OK on that one, and then if we look above the actual layer on there, we can see we've got the word normal. This is what's called the layer modes. If we click on there, you can see there's lots of different modes on there, and basically we're not going to get too deep into these. We're going to be using two, and the first one we're going to use is screen. When we click on this, you can see straight away the difference to the image. You can see it's very bright, and that's what screen does. It lightens the image. It lightens what's below that layer. So the next step is we're going to use what's called a layer mask. If we look on the menu that we've got there on the layer palette, as it's called, if we look at the bottom there, we've got this little, looks like a square with a circle in the middle, and it's called Add Layer Mask. We're going to click that, and when we click on that, you can see we've now got this white box that's come to the right of the actual layer there, the picture on there. And that's important to realise that it's white, because the way that layer masks work is basically black and white. And white means that it's opaque, so you can't see through that layer. You're seeing it at 100% opaqueness, so we can't see what's below the layer. And if it was black, it would be totally transparent, so therefore we wouldn't see any of that layer. We would only see what was below it. So what we're going to do first of all is to change this from white to black, and a very quick way of doing that. First of all, we make sure that is selected. You need to make sure you click in this white box, because you can change from the image. If you see I click there to the layer mask, you can work on both sections of that. So we make sure we're clicked on the layer mask, we go to the foreground color and we select black. So make sure you've gone straight down to the bottom corner there. I usually drag to make sure it's on black there. Click on OK, and then we go to the paint bucket tool, which is located on the screen there, paint bucket tool, and we just click on the picture. And now if we look, and we look at the layer mask there, you see that it's now black, and it's basically transparent. We can see straight through it. So using black and white, we can add bits to the layer mask to make it either transparent or to make it opaque, just by using black and white. So if we get a brush, for instance, so I'll click on the brush tool and I change the foreground colour to white, and I'm going to change the brush size down. You can see I want a fairly large brush, something like that. Put it on the screen. That's the best way to have a look at the brush size, because pixels means nothing if you've got a different image. The brush size will be totally different if you're on 143 pixels like me. Depending on the quality of your image, it's going to be different. So we just look on the screen, something around that size. The hardness we want on 0, so drag it all the way to the left of the hardness. So now we're painting on the layer mask. We've got a white brush. The opacity of the brush I'm going to keep at 100% at the moment, and if you see, if I click on the screen and paint, I can add light, because I'm making this part of the image opaque, and it's bringing back that layer. So you can see I can actually paint light into the picture. I'm going to undo that now. So we just get it back to how it was. Now there is a different way of doing that. I could actually paint black back on there. That's the beauty of this, is just by switching back to black, I can paint over the area that I've just applied to and just paint it back out. So at any stage I can do that. I can swap from black and white and make it opaque or transparent just by using black and white. I'm going to do the same again, so I'm going to change it to white, and this time I'm going to take the opacity down quite low to about just like 25%. I'm going to be a bit more gentle now. I'm just going to add light to this bottom area. So you can see, just by dragging and painting, I can add light to the areas of the image where I want it. There we go. So that's how we can actually paint light into the image. So remember, we changed the layer mode to screen, and just using black and white brushes we can apply the effect. We can change the opacity of the brush, but on top of that we can also, once we've done that, we can actually change the opacity of the layer also. So if we look at the layer back up there and we look at the opacity in this box, we can actually drag that down and get any variant of that effect that we've just applied. We can change the opacity. So I'm going to go for about there, on 90%. And I'm happy with that. That's got the light areas that I want. What I want to do now is to make the opposite. I want to make the top half of the image slightly darker. So again, same process. First of all, we flatten the layer. So I go to Layer, Flatten Image, and that gets rid of all the layers that we've actually been using. And if we look at the layers now, we've just got the one background layer. So I'm going to actually right click on that and duplicate that layer. I'm going to repeat the process exactly the same, but I'm going to be using a different layer mode. So this time when I click on the word normal, I'm selecting multiply, and multiply does the opposite. It makes it dark where the screen made it light. Okay, so again, same process. I add the layer mask by clicking on the box there. So we've now got the mask, and it's all white, so it's basically it's opaque. We can't see through to the layer that's below. And once again, I'm going to change that to black. So I change the foreground color to black. I find my paint bucket tool, and I click on the screen, and now we've painted that mask there, and we've made that now transparent, so it's black. I change the foreground colour to white. I'll get my brush again. I'm just going to do some areas of the sky there. So you can see we're still on 25%. I'm just going to gently go over these areas. Just add a bit more darkness to those areas. It's not going mad with this, it's just touching up the image very slightly and making those areas a little bit darker. So it's strengthening the twigs basically on the trees, giving them more contrast. And there we go. So we've actually enhanced the image by just using those two layer modes. Screen lightens, multiply darkens the image, and basically we just use the masks and we paint with black and white to make it opaque or transparent. Once you've got the image how you want it, we get rid of the layers. So we go to Layer, Flatten Image, and there's our completed image.